All right, everyone, buckle up because today we're diving headfirst into the Panasonic S1R II rumors.
Yeah, you guys sent in this review, and honestly, it's got us pretty hyped.
I know, right? The internet's buzzing about this camera. We got to break this down.
For sure. Where do we even start? I mean, the Leica connection alone is wild.
That's the thing. It's like finding designer clothes at like a crazy discount, you know?
Totally. The review even calls it a, what was it? A celebrity wearing Target situation. I love that.
Yeah, gotta love that analogy. So we're going to unpack everything, what we know, what we think we know, and what it all means for, well, for anyone who's even remotely interested in cameras.
Especially if you're a photographer or videographer, like, this is big news.
No doubt. So let's jump right in. The source is super excited about that shared 60-megapixel sensor.
Right, the BSI CMOS one. It's the same one in the Leica SL3, remember?
Oh, yeah, the Leica. Didn't that thing have like a crazy dynamic range?
15 stops. Can you believe that? And it can shoot 8K video, too. Think of the detail and flexibility you'd have.
Okay, I'm already sold, but hold on. The review mentions some potential downsides to those super high megapixel counts.
Right, some things to consider for sure.
They talked about like high ISO noise being an issue.
Yeah, and that rolling shutter jello effect, too.
Yeah, the Jello, it's like the kryptonite to a high megapixel superhero, as the review put it. Pretty funny, actually.
It's true, though. High megapixels can sometimes make the sensor, well, more sensitive to noise, especially when you're shooting in low light.
In rolling shutter, that's just a challenge with, any sensor that reads the image line by line. Fast movement gets distorted. Not ideal.
Nope. But Panasonic might have some tricks up their sleeve.
The source seems to think so. What could they do to tackle these issues?
Well, they mentioned dual gain output, that's DGO for short. Panasonic has used it in other cameras.
Oh, yeah, like the GH6, right, that had DGO.
Exactly. It helps to, boost that dynamic range and reduce noise, especially in those tricky low-light situations.
That makes a lot of sense. And the source was even speculating about a triple native ISO system, similar to what's in the BGH1.
Yeah, that's a possibility. They're hoping it'll make night photography even better.
Oh, man, that would be amazing. I'm already picturing some epic night shots, so low light seems like it's covered. What about video?
Oh, the source has big dreams for video. They're really hoping for that buttery, smooth look.
Higher bitrate codecs, maybe? Especially with that rumored 8K capability?
Could be. They even mentioned Blackmagic RAW, or BRAW. Remember how the GH7 uses BRAW?
Oh, yeah. So that's not totally out of the realm of possibility then. But for those of us who aren't video experts, what's so special about BRA?
Okay, so BRA is amazing for a few reasons. It basically helps your video editing workflow, makes it more efficient.
So smoother editing, faster rendering, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and you get more flexibility in color grading, too. More creative control.
So you can fine-tune the look of your footage more easily.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that makes sense. What else?
Well, the source thinks Panasonic might be looking at 4-in-1 pixel binning to combat that rolling shutter issue.
Pixel binning. Okay, confession time. I'm still a little fuzzy on how that works. Could you break it down for me?
Sure. So you know how your sensor has millions of tiny pixels? Well, pixel binning combines groups of them to create bigger superpixels.
Oh, I see.
This helps a lot in low light because those bigger pixels can capture more light. And for video, it speeds up the sensor readout.
Ah, so that's how they combat the rolling shutter. It makes the sensor faster.
Exactly. You might end up with a lower resolution image, but you get smoother video and better low-light performance.
That's pretty clever, actually. The source even thinks we could see some really smooth 4.8K video from that 60-megapixel sensor.
Right. They were even dreaming of, like, a switchable resolution system, full resolution for stills, then a pixel binned mode for video, like what Sony did with the A7RV.
Now, that would be awesome. The ultimate hybrid camera, almost.
For sure. And the source also mentioned autofocus, hoping for some improvements there, maybe even AI-powered subject tracking.
Oh, yeah, the autofocus. They did point out that the current L-mount lens lineup might not be quite ready for a super advanced autofocus system, though.
True, the L-mount is still pretty new, so the selection is growing, but it's not quite there yet. We're seeing some cool lenses coming out, though.
That's a good sign. And they also talked about the handheld pixel shift feature.
Oh, yeah, that's a cool one.
Imagine getting super high-resolution images, like maybe a 100-megapixel shot, all handheld. That would be mind-blowing for landscapes or architecture.
Totally, but we can't ignore the elephant in the room.
The rebadged Leica possibility. Right?
Yeah. What if the S1R II is just a slightly tweaked SL3?
The source touched on that, but they didn't seem too bothered by it, honestly. And I get it. I mean, the Leica SL3 is already an amazing camera.
Right. It's got that 60 megapixel full frame sensor, 5-axis in-body stabilization, a fast hybrid autofocus system, 8K video and H.265, even 1080p ProRes recording. Plus, it's got that high-res EVF and a tilting touchscreen. It's pretty stacked.
If the S1R II inherits all that,
Hmm.
even with some Panasonic-specific tweaks, it's going to be a pretty tempting option for a lot of
Yeah.
people.
Definitely. It'll be interesting to see if Panasonic, brings anything unique to the table, even if they're building on that Leica foundation.
They do have a history of innovation, especially when it comes to video.
Totally. So maybe they'll surprise us.
Fingers crossed. You know what? Let's save that discussion for the next part of our deep dive. We've covered a lot already. We've talked about that possible Leica connection, the challenges with high resolution, those video dreams, autofocus aspirations. It's a lot to process.
It is. And next time we can dig into those specific lens choices the source mentioned.
And we'll really unpack what this whole rebadged dilemma means for Panasonic, especially with 2025 just around the corner.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, welcome back. Last time we were geeking out about the S1R II rumors, especially that whole Leica in disguise thing.
Yeah, we covered a lot, but the source is already planning out their lens purchases.
No way, really. That's commitment.
Right. They specifically mentioned the Sigma 28 105mm f2.8 DG DN art and the Sigma 14mm f1.4 DG DN art.
Okay, bold choices. Let's break down those picks. What makes those lenses so appealing, for our source and maybe even for our listeners?
Well, that 28 105mm f2.8, that just sounds like a workhorse. Covers a ton of focal lengths.
Yeah, you could shoot, landscapes, portraits, everything, all without switching lenses.
Exactly. And that f2.8 aperture is key. You can get that nice blurry background and shoot in low light, too.
Always a plus. Low light is always a challenge.
Definitely. The source even mentioned that it focuses pretty close, too, like under 16 inches across the whole zoom range.
Oh, wow. So you could get some really nice detail shots, even with everyday subjects.
Exactly. And then that 14mm f1.4, I mean, come on, that's got to be for astrophotography, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. 14 millimeters. That's ultra wide.
Right.
Perfect for those big sweeping night sky shots.
The source said it's got a 114-degree field of view. That's huge.
Wow. And f1.4, it'll soak up all that starlight. That's what you need for astrophotography when there's barely any light.
Absolutely. And both of those lenses, they have that high-response linear actuator motor for autofocus.
Oh, yeah. I read about that. So what that means, fast and precise focusing,
Yeah.
even in low light.
Yep, pretty much. So those are the two lenses our source is eyeing. What about you? What other lenses would you recommend for someone building out an L-mount system, maybe with the S1R II in mind?
Ooh, that's a good question. It really depends on what you like to shoot, right?
Yeah, for sure. If you're into portraits, those Panasonic 85mm and 105mm lenses are fantastic. Super sharp, beautiful bokeh.
And for landscapes, there's some amazing wide-angle primes and zooms.
Definitely. And don't forget about architecture. The tilt-shift lenses for L-mount are incredible.
Oh, right, those tilt-shift lenses. They're in a league of their own.
They are. But the point is, there are a lot of options out there for L-mount. It's a growing system. Whatever you like to shoot, there's probably a lens for you.
So many possibilities. But, we've been dancing around this whole rebadged Leica thing. Should we be excited about that? Or should we be hoping for something, more original from Panasonic?
That's the big question, isn't it? I mean, on one hand, a rebadged Leica could feel, I don't know, like a lack of originality. But we got to remember that Panasonic and Leica, they have a close relationship.
They've been working together for years.
Right. And the Leica SL3, it's already a great camera. But could Panasonic add their own special something, even if they are using the same basic hardware? What do you think?
That's what I'm wondering. I mean, Panasonic has been killing it with video technology lately.
They have 4K 120p internal 10-bit recording, even raw video with BRAW on the GH7. They're going all in on video.
And their dual native ISO has been a game changer, too.
Totally. So it seems like they're really focusing on those hybrid shooters, people who want great stills and professional level video.
It's like they're trying to conquer both worlds, stills and video.
Exactly. And that's where the Leica connection gets really interesting. They can take that high-resolution technology from the SL3 and, compete with the big boys on image quality. But they can also keep pushing those video features they're known for.
It's like they're getting a head start. They don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Right. And don't forget, Panasonic is already a big name in professional video. They have those cinema cameras, too.
Oh, that's right. They're not just thinking about us photographers and hybrid shooters.
Nope. They're thinking about filmmakers, broadcasters, everyone. It shows they're versatile, they're innovative, they're embracing new technologies and formats.
So even if it's a rebadged Leica, it could still be a really smart move for Panasonic.
Exactly. They get the best of both worlds. They can partner with Leica for that cutting-edge tech, but they can still do their own thing.
That makes a lot of sense. So we've talked about those lens choices. We've debated the whole rebadge thing. But what does this all mean for Panasonic's, overall strategy? Where do they fit in the camera market, especially as we head towards 2025?
That's a great question. It's a tough market out there.
We're back. Final part of our S1R II deep dive. We've talked specs, lenses, even that whole rebadged or reinvented debate.
Now we're thinking big picture, where does Panasonic fit in the camera world,
Yeah.
especially with 2025 just around the corner?
It's a crowded market. You've got Sony, Canon, Nikon, all those giants.
Right. So where does Panasonic squeeze in?
And could the S1R II be their ticket to, I don't know, shaking things up a bit?
Maybe. If we look at what they've been doing, it seems like video is a big focus for them.
Oh, for sure. All those advancements, 4K, 120p, 10-bit recording, even raw video with RAW on the GH7. They're not messing around.
Definitely not. And we can't forget about their dual native ISO.
Right. That's been huge for low light performance.
So, on the one hand, they're becoming this video powerhouse, especially for, hybrid shooters who want the best of both worlds.
Stills and video all in one package.
Exactly. But then they're also going after those high-resolution stills shooters with cameras like the S1R, and now maybe this S1R II.
It's like they want it all.
Maybe they do. And that's where that whole Leica connection gets really interesting.
Right. Because if they're using tech from the SL3, they can compete on image quality with those high-resolution cameras.
Yeah.
But they can also keep pushing those video features.
It's a smart strategy. They don't have to start from scratch.
Exactly. And Panasonic is already a big player in professional video anyway.
Oh, yeah, with those cinema cameras. They're not just thinking about, us regular folks.
You've got their eyes on the big leagues.
They do. So it seems like they're pretty versatile, innovative. They're willing to try new things, new formats, whether it's BRAW or these crazy high-resolution sensors.
So even if the S1R II is, rebadged, it could still be a really smart move for them.
Definitely. They get to partner with Leica for the best tech, but they can still put their own spin on things.
So what's the takeaway here? What does this all mean for, for anyone who's excited about cameras and where things are headed?
I think it means we should keep our eyes on Panasonic. They're doing some really interesting things. They're pushing the boundaries.
The camera world is changing fast, and they're not afraid to be a part of it.
And whether the S1R II is a rebadged Leica or a brand new Panasonic creation, it shows that they're serious about both stills and video.
So what you're saying is we should all be excited.
I think so. This could be the start of something big.
Well, that's it for our deep dive on the Panasonic S1R II rumors. It's been a wild ride.
It has. But remember, this is just the beginning. There's always more to learn, more to explore.
That's right. So keep researching, keep asking questions, and most importantly, keep shooting.
Well said. And until next time, happy shooting, everyone.
We'll see you on the next deep dive.